Would you ever run for office?
Run for office?
Would you ever run? Would you ever be a politician or run for office?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I sit here and say I don't think so. I don't know.
I'm being serious. If someone tried to recruit a LeBron to run for president, they said, listen, they've got no one. If you don't run, Trump's going to win. Would you run?
Well, in that case, I may. Yeah, if they have no one,
yeah.
I believe there's some people out there. I hope.
But if there's no one.
Let's see first. Let's see first.
You would run.
Let's see first.
855-40-LAURA. Well, that LeBron James now has 10,000 signatures, almost 11,000, to become education secretary. I don't understand that. For Trump? He hates Trump. Why would he be education secretary for Trump? Oh, because they don't like Betsy DeVos. These things are so silly, some of these online petitions. I mean, okay. I mean, where do you go with that? Now, what are they all mad about? They're mad that the LeBron James I Promise school is going to cost the district taxpayers around $8 million per year. Oh, that's in the Bleacher Report. Oh, I didn't see this before. So the figure's mostly going to be covered by shifting students, teachers, and money from other schools. The coverage made it look like the whole thing is his. Akron Public Schools district spokesman Mark Williamson told O'Donnell he did a lot, but the taxpayers should know it's their investment too. So the LeBron Family Foundation is paying $2 million annually. Well, that's not nothing. They're giving money to the school district, and I hope it works out well. But that's just more facts. I guess the Daily Mail did a big piece after the Bleacher Report did a big piece. But when LeBron James does something, he's incredibly talented athlete. He has a master PR machine. And they're gonna get a lot of publicity, and he's probably doing a lot of good for some of these kids. It's great. 855-40-LAURA. But what does this all mean? We have a lot to talk about. This will just be a funny little news pig. But Bill Bennett, former Secretary of Education, former drug czar, of course, author of so many phenomenal best-selling books, including a great online K-12 education for children. And he joins us now. Bill, it's great to talk to you. How you doing?
What about my former association with Laura Ingraham?
Well, and he was my boss. So
yeah,
that was the low point for you.
Now I walk around saying, I know Laura Ingraham.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah,
number one, how are you doing? How's everything? How are you feeling? How's Elaine? How are the kids?
Everything's fine. Elaine is fine. I was thinking, you're reading the Hillsdale thing, the Beach Boys in the background, Be True to Your School.
Oh, yeah.
So she did one of her great Best Friends events,
mm-hmm.
and the Beach Boys played, and they said they'd do a free one, and she could auction it off. So Elaine went to the podium, and Elaine, she said, we're going to auction off the Beach Boys for another concert for this great organization. And we would begin the bidding with my husband, $500,000. And I passed out. Freaking passed out.
Oh.
I was just getting out of government,
Oh, my goodness.
I said, what? Honey, still honey, maybe not for long, but what, honey, are you doing? And she said, you're just bait. Don't worry. I'm after Jim Kimsey. You're just bait.
Oh, Kimsey, God rest his soul. Kimsey went in for it. Okay.
Right.
Okay, that's a good story.
She got it. I was off the hook. Anyway.
Well, Elaine she's a smart lady. She knows, knows leverage.
Yep, she raised great sons too.
So what about this stuff with
LeBron?
Yeah, with celebrities who, they go out and I always like people who, I don't know, I kind of like the anonymous donors. There's so many people at Dartmouth and colleges who put their names on buildings, and I like the people who give and you don't know.
Yeah, do great work and leave it unadvertised.
Mm-hmm.
Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes. How about a book? I guess I was thinking of a book while you were talking.
What?
Right, Shut Up and Dunk.
Very funny. Shut Up and Sing was a big bestseller, but then I was just joking. I was just joking with the Shut Up and Dribble thing, and gosh, you say a little thing, and then suddenly you're the discussion of the NBA All-Star Weekend. I mean, my goodness, people can say the worst things about this president, but they get a little pinprick back, and these giant celebrities get all upset. I mean, they can dish it out, but they can't take it.
I'll tell you, he would not be the best Secretary of Education, but he wouldn't be the worst. We've had some pretty bad ones under Democrats, I'll tell you. So,
Yeah, he
but
might
one
be
thing
pretty good.
I'll bet they wouldn't do to him what they did to Betsy when her first school visit. They tried to block her at the schoolhouse door. I don't think they'd do that.
No, that was. Have you seen the level of vitriol? I mean, when we were working in the Reagan administration, you were a cabinet secretary for both Reagan and, of course, George H.W. Bush. But there's always nastiness, negativity, press bias. But how would you compare today to your days in government working for Republican presidents?
Just nothing like it. I mean, the criticism of Reagan, the amiable dunce, all that stuff. But then worse, I think, the worst treatment ever was Quayle. Mm-hmm. Poor Dan Quayle got the worst. They weren't kind to HW, they were kind to W, but this is in a league of its own. I've never seen anything like it. And, people talk about conservatives, liberals tearing the country apart. We are not. They are. They really are. Because the liberals, the vitriol, it's unbelievable. Someone stopped me. I do live in Montgomery County, Maryland. That's as far as I'll go. Pretty liberal area. And someone stopped their car next to me and said, "I know who you are. I think you're a disgusting person, and I'm throwing away the Book of Virtues." I said, "Well, who are you?" "Never mind," sped off. I mean, what is that? Just drive by, gratuitous insult, nastiness. I said a couple other things I won't repeat.
I was gonna say, Bill, I've known you for a long time. I don't think you would just let that lie.
The Irishman who walks down the street, sees a fight going on, says, "Is this a private fight or can anybody get in on?"
Well, the Bennett boys did have their history of fights as kids, so.
Yeah, they did, and so we grew big sons, as you know. And
yeah.
They protect me now. They protect me and my dotage.
They're like double your size.
I know, but they're lean.
They're great boys. So, getting into this topic now, we used to have a situation where Democrats, for the most part, and Republicans agreed on some basic precepts. That the basic precept was that America, with all of her flaws, and we've made mistakes, we've gotten through them. America was at her core a good country. That we were a virtuous people. Virtue mattered. We're all sinners, but virtue still matters, and the rule of law mattered, and the national anthem was something you just stood for. And that basic set of precepts they're in dispute constantly. Maybe it's an exaggeration because of the way the media covers them, but boy, it certainly seems like they're all up for grabs now.
Yeah, you could argue, who's the professor? His name escapes me at the moment, at Gettysburg, the great Lincoln scholar. He does Hillsdale talks. You know what I mean. It might come to me in a second. He wrote an op-ed piece in the Journal saying Civil War and maybe now, in terms of disunity, that we've never seen greater disunity. And you could argue the Civil War, but for one major issue, people fought for the South, people fought for the North, believed many of the same things, and believed the litany that you just cited. There was just that one big glaring disagreement, huge, tragic disagreement. But no, I've never seen it like this. We got to put it back together. Part of me hopes that some sanity prevails in watching this debate inside the Democratic Party, because I'd like to see, makes it harder for the candidates I'm supporting, but I'd like to see more people in the middle in the Democratic Party. I don't know. Is it going left? Is that what it'll do in 2018? It's been going left. Will it continue to go left?
Well, I think the major changes in the country, some of them having to do with immigration, the fact that the schools aren't teaching, patriotism is looked down upon, and schools are, Columbus is a horrible, person, and the founders were racist. And so, I mean, it's not like when you come into the country as an immigrant, legal or illegal, you're not getting inculcated into the greatness of America in many of the schools, private or public. So
we're raising aliens, our own kids, our own kids.
Yeah, they're strangers in America.
There's a great quote by Kolakowski. He says, in his Jefferson lecture, he said, "You remain alien to yourself in a country or culture in which your past is denied." You remain alien to yourself. And not to give that inheritance. I was a meeting at the White House, Laura, last week. So they're having some great meetings. Jared Kushner and Brooke Rollins. Do you know Brooke?
No.
From Texas Public Policy Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
She's there now with higher ed, and I was there with Robbie George and some other folks about the problems of free speech and people not understanding patriotism and so on. And I said, college level, fine to talk about, but you got to go back further. You got to go to schools. You got to realize Howard Zinn's People's History of the American Republic is still by far outselling, anything balanced or reasonable. I wrote a 3-volume history, America: The Last Best Hope. Pretty good, actually pretty good reviews. But boy, talk about no effort in the schools. Can't get in the schools. I guess being Secretary of Education didn't do me any good in the schools. Huh?
No, that counts against you if you were Secretary of Education and for a Republican administration. By the way, speaking of that, Arnie Duncan spoke out on CNN and talked about what Trump does not want. Let's listen.
I'm not sure President Trump wants to have the best educated workforce.
Why is that?
In the world. I think it doesn't play to his authoritarian tendencies. You don't want highly educated people challenging you, thinking you. When you're trying to call the press the enemy of the people, when you're trying to suppress trust in institutions, having thoughtful people who can think on themselves, think by themselves, think critically, I'm not sure if that's in his self-interest.
What can I say? It's just crazy. But let me say, for the record, there's something to be said if he's talking about academics. I discovered the only other PhD in philosophy other than myself who voted for Trump. He's at the University of Texas. There are now 2 of us. I think.
It's unbelievable.
At least admitting it. That's just so stupid. Can I say a word about Janus?
Please.
Janus' decision in the Supreme Court. I just got off the phone with Mark Janus. We were talking. I said, I got to hang up. I got to talk to Laura Ingraham. And he said, oh, go ahead. She's more important. I said, at the moment, Mr. Janus, you're the guy, and you're now about to become a verb. Janus got a decision out of the Supreme Court. Justice Alito wrote it. Big deal. Unions could assume before in many states that if you were teaching, you were part of the union and coerce the dues out of you. The Alito decision, the court decision 5-4, said that for a person to have his dues, to collect dues from a person for union activities, collective bargaining, a person must affirmatively consent to it. He must opt in, is the language we're using. You cannot assume they opt in. He must affirmatively and explicitly opt in. That means people get to be free and to think about whether they really want to join a union and be associated with all that the union does. Think about that I think about it, in terms of what this might mean for the reprofessionalization of the teaching profession. Maybe we can break that stranglehold of the union mentality.
Did you see Missouri just had a ballot initiative to reject the Janus decision? I don't know how that plays out, but they said no to it.
I think this happened in pre-Civil War South. Wasn't there something called
what does that mean? They reject Janus. I don't understand what that means.
Get Attorney General Katzenbach. Where is he?
Mm-hmm.
Little Rock schools. Let's go. This is exactly. Take a look at Maryland. They did the same thing. They said, okay, you can opt in or opt out, but we're giving you 48 hours to do so. So implementation now is critical in the states, and I'm working in the states. If I get a plug from my organization, Conservative Leaders for Education, I do a lot of work with them. We're working with conservative state legislators in the states who are interested in education. This is going to be a fight for 10 years. These people are going to resist this, stand in the schoolhouse door. It's unbelievable.
We lose the debate in the schoolhouse door. I think you're absolutely smart. We'll link up, Bill, your organization, both on Facebook and Twitter and online, because Bill Bennett, first of all, is a national treasure for so many reasons, but he knows. Maybe he knows firsthand. It's not just what happens in the university. By then, it's too late for most kids. Not everybody, because a lot of kids turn around still in college, but because it's so outrageously left-wing. This is beginning earlier and earlier. Schools are indoctrinating, sadly, children into either a tepid kind of a very tepid feeling about America to a downright hostile feeling about America. And that is a tragedy for this country. Bill Bennett, thank you so much. Give my love to Elaine and the boys. We'll have you on TV soon. I certainly hope so. We'll take a break. Don't go away.
The Laura Ingraham Show.
Thanks for listening to this podcast excerpt of The Laura Ingraham Show. If you'd like to receive podcasts of our complete shows, go to lauraingraham.com and sign up to become a member of Laura 365. Our Laura 365 members get commercial-free streams and podcasts of our shows every day we're on the air. And also, you can listen to the last 30 days of The Laura Ingraham Show. Be ahead of the curve. Join Laura 365.